Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today, as requested, we have an in-depth video on the best aim lab scenarios that'll actually help you improve your aim in FPS games. So this has been a highly requested video. I'm really excited about it, so don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Now, real quick, please be patient because this is definitely going to be a longer video. So some stuff to get out of the way before we do the deep dive is this video is going to be quite in-depth. Instead of just breaking this up to various videos like we did in the Kovacs series, I figured we'd just do one big master video. Also, we had help from our friend SoaR Ethos, as he has a stellar playlist on aim labs called Valorant Warm-Up. Now, I know it says Valorant Warm-Up, but this is very applicable to aim improvement on aim labs in mostly any game that you play. So again, SoaR Ethos is also an aim enthusiast like myself. Have his channel down in the description down below. He's been blowing up, so please give him a follow, sub, check his channel out. Great content. Again, I'm going to put timestamps on the various scenarios we're going to discuss after we get through this introduction, so if you just want to skip ahead. So again, appreciate your patience as we kind of talk through some things. Some of these scores I recorded, again, are not the best. I did go right into utilizing what this is called, a warm-up. So I woke up, went right into it, and definitely was a little rusty. Because again, this point of the series is really not to flex any of these scenarios, but it's really just to get you guys trained up, warmed up, and that's the whole point. Just to notate as well, SoaR Ethos is partnered with aim labs. I am not. I will still be making Kovacs videos, various aim guides. For those that want Kovacs scenarios, I definitely have a very big in-depth series. We break down various scenarios that can definitely help improve your aim. I'm nearing a complete diamond rank on the scenarios, and I'm going to spend more time in aim labs and crank out some more top 100 scores because I noticed I've lost some of my scores. But for voltaic benchmarks, I'm still having a ton of fun in Kovacs and still find, again, like I said in my videos, I do actually practice what I share with you guys. Also, I'll be doing even more aim lab videos if you guys enjoy them. Plus, I mean, aim labs is free. And I'll do my best to do some comparisons to Kovacs when I get a chance in this video. While I think SoaR Ethos' playlist is very good and in my opinion quite complete, it was missing two scenarios I think are going to be very helpful, and we're going to start off with those. We won't be including any of the auditory ones in this video. I'm going to be primarily focusing on how to improve your hand-eye coordination as well as mouse control, so the muscles in your hand. Remember, once you build up strong mouse control, you seriously need to hop in game and practice. You need to compile your aim and movement together, and that does take time. So one thing you're going to notice is don't feel bad if you become amazing at aim labs and it really does not translate right away. You need to have good aim sense and movement in the game of your choosing. My best thing I can relate this to is what we're building here is a foundation, very much like when you go to the gym. You can be super buff and have a great body, but you obviously need time to perfect your craft in the sport of your choosing. Now that we got all of that out of the way, I did say this is going to be a longer video, so let's deep dive headfirst into the first two scenarios that are not on the playlist. First up, Decisionshot Speed. What is great about this scenario is the fact that it does something I have not seen in Kovacs. The reason I chose a speed version is when we play the scenarios that we practice so much on, our hand-eye coordination gets taken over by just doing things at a pure reflex and not thinking whatsoever, which is helpful because you're getting comfortable, but this puts the thinking back into your aim, which is important and keeps you engaged. When you shoot the color in the middle, you need to immediately shoot the color that follows it, essentially pairing the two together. Again, it's why we chose the speed variant. Speeding up this decision-making process is helpful in a sense of the overall goal of the scenario. Other scenarios, in my opinion, will be much better for precision on other tools that we're trying to build. But if you find at any point you're not engaged in aiming, do this scenario real quick and get yourself thinking again. Now, on to the next scenario, Spheretrack Ultimate. This is very much like Air on Kovacs, which is a fantastic scenario, but was also missing, obviously, an Ethos playlist. It's the reason why it does not really apply to Valorant, but it applies to improving your overall aim, which is why I'm mentioning it here. The nice thing is that the scenario does exist within aim labs and it's great for long tracking and utilizing your full mouse pad. Newcomers will find they probably lift their mouse too much. If you lift your mouse too much, try to work on the various edges of your mouse pad and maximize your DPS in the scenario, as you will find lifting will cause a momentary loss of damage per second. Now, if your aim style you happen to lift a ton, but can maintain strong or better DPS, well, that is obviously more power to you. But it can be very tiring on your wrist over time. But again, the biggest thing as you're practicing is just find what's comfortable. If that's comfortable for you, then that's a win. But again, keep practicing your overall tracking movement. So now let us go on to the playlist of today's video, which is Ethos playlist. Within aim labs, if you click custom, then type in Ethos, download Valorant Warm-Up. then click play. This will get you all the scenarios we're going to cover, besides the 2 that we obviously just discussed. It's really good to branch out in general with various scenarios because they help really broaden your muscles and help you improve. So try other playlists and orders that other people have created. Again, if you want me to create my own playlist, leave a like or comment. I can definitely put one together for you guys. Reminder again, this may say Valorant, but it improves your overall accuracy and aim, and I'm going to break down every single scenario and talk through it and why it may be applicable to you or may not. So you can make your own decision based on that. So first off, Sixshot Ultimate. So I'm honestly glad this is a first in the setup. One thing take it for granted consistently is accuracy. Most peeps want to build up massive speed like we've seen in Gridshot. I get it, it makes a whole lot of sense. But to build up a consistent foundation, you really want to build on accuracy first, and in time, you're going to speed up. I promise. You're going to build confidence. You want to build the confidence on the smaller shots, and in time, the larger shots are just going to be super easy. We literally talked about this live on YouTube on my last live stream. That being fast and flashy can look great, but if you slow down and are accurate, the reality is that you're going to get much better scores on aim labs as well as landing and securing frags. You're really not slowing down because the reality is you're taking the most effective route and not overshooting. Even a slight overshoot is milliseconds lost, so you want to minimize on that, and you're also going to be much better in-game for it. There's a scenario that helps support this theory, and it's going to be discussed here in just a hot second. So let's go into segue now for Motionshot Speed is next. This clearly reminds me of Pasu and Kovacs, but you have to reset in the middle, which is why it's helpful for Valorant. It's also helpful for most individuals when you have to reset to the middle where you want to get right back at head level. The targets are clearly larger than Pasu though. That's because this is a speed variant. You're getting your hand muscles warmed up. There's going to be a lot more exercises that help, but this one's good to kind of get, the hand muscles warmed up. But it will get used to hitting those targets that move. Again, while Gridshot is great, targets are ultimately going to move, and after you build up the muscles in your hand, you need to get used to the movement of tracking and predicting an enemy. This is a great start for it. Obviously, movement is random in FPS games, but as you play them, you're going to find a pattern and you will improve. This sets a foundation as a good test out for various sensitivities. Are you too slow? Are you overshooting when trying to track a moving target? Make a decision, find what's comfortable for you. Now next is Circleshot Custom. This is my least favorite in the playlist here. This is very niche, and it's probably the only one that I'm going to single out, probably cover the least. Because you could kind of cheese it by shooting very quickly because they only spawn in one location. You lay 2 shots in the target, another spawns very much in front of you, very basic. It's not bad, it's just very, very specific. And it can definitely help in terms of your overshooting because you realize just how little movement you have to make, and also when clicking faster, you'll notice that the movement required to get a kill is much easier. So not a bad scenario, just very niche and very specific. So Spidershot Speed is next. Again, another one that's better than Gridshot because it requires that you cannot pre-aim the next target. You need to react and shoot. What this scenario will help you build is a rhythm in your aim and speed. The targets don't change in size in the scenario, that's going to come later because it's a speed variant, but they stay static in size and really hones in on building that groove on various distances. So issues you're going to run into, same as before, don't try to be fast. Be accurate and don't spaz out. Spazzing out only builds bad habits of overshooting, taking out weird routes. I'd rather see everyone who's watching this video go slow and actually land your shots. I'd rather you be late to the shot than overshooting and doing wild motions and failing miserably. I make those mistakes, you will not make them. So don't be like me from the past and build bad habits because trust me, they're really hard to break and stuff that most pros and individuals still work on to this very day. Now, on to one of my favorites, Switchtrack Ultimate. One of my biggest strengths happens to be target switching. I used to have a top 100 on this. It's been a while since I've logged in Kovacs, and a lot of people looks like they've gotten a lot better scores. But for this video, this is helpful in building speed and slowing down to track a target. Very helpful not only to Valorant, but a ton of games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, maybe less on Apex due to the TTK, but still very beneficial. Do not sleep on target switching because it's a nice blend of tracking and speed. You kind of get used to building and stopping the momentum. It can be very helpful. Now, first, Microshot Speed, one that relates heavily to a ton of Kovacs scenarios that you're going to see. One thing those improving their aim forget is that as you improve your overall aim, you start to tap into different parts of your aim. You no longer struggle with large movements, but you struggle with small movements. You know how we always joke around and say that the easiest shots are always the hardest? Well, that's kind of the reality. It starts to become where the broad movements, quote unquote, difficult shots become much easier, and you start to struggle with making just micro adjustments because you have your crosshairs already in the general vicinity of an opponent. This is a helpful exercise to keep your speed and find a rhythm on hitting smaller targets, in which reality you're going to face in a lot of your FPS games. Now, Circletrack Ultimate. Now for this scenario, you're going to be working on your full 360 tracking movement. A great scenario is to keep your crosshairs at head level and work on your full 360 movement tracking. You'll continue to learn when you need to pick up your mouse, the muscles involved, and you may find if your sensitivity is too fast or too slow. It's a good scenario getting comfortable with your inches per 360, and you're literally working on your 360 movement. Something we mention quite often here on the channel is inches per 360, so this is a great way to test it out, quite literally. Change sensitivities in the scenario, good way to learn, figure out what you feel comfortable with. Now, we talked about this one before, not really before, but we talked about this one, which was Linetrace Ultimate in the very first scenario second scenario that we were talking about. That's really helpful. It's very unique to Aim Labs. I have not seen this in Kovacs. I'm so glad that Ethos put the scenario in, because I am not very good at this one. Remember how I mentioned to minimize excessive movement? This literally is that scenario that will help. Again, I'm not very good at it. I definitely need to work on it, again, because it highlights a lot of my bad habits, but it showcases the direct path, and obviously you track it to get there and hit the target. Once optimized without overshooting or any curves is how you're going to gain the best possible path. When asked how you improve your speed, well, taking the fastest direction is obviously going to save you milliseconds and excessive movement. There's always a joke before aim trainers existed that if you were good at MS Paint, then you can aim in video games. Remember, aim in video games covers a wide spectrum of skills, and as you can see from all the scenarios that we're covering, from tracking, decision making, precision, speed, target switching, that it's all beneficial. They're all various parts of aim that you need to master and improve upon. So now, let's move on to the next scenario, Spidershot Ultimate. Remember how we did Spidershot Speed? Well, now we're going to do the ultimate version here where the targets vary more ultimately, no pun intended, size. So starting on speed though, it's helpful to warm up to get your hand muscles going. Then we're going to hit varying target sizes and going for more precision and kind of blending everything together. This is why the scenario is so good and helpful. Notice how most of the scenarios are reactive after hitting the first target. That is to keep you on your toes engaged rather than pre-firing the next target, because in game, your target will appear, but you won't always be able to pre-fire just perfectly. This helps get those type of jitters out of the way. So with those asking, how do I stop being so nervous? Well, if you're always hitting targets that appear out of nowhere, this is really, really great to get you comfortable. Next up, Motionshot Ultimate. Same as before, but like Posture from Kovacs, you're hitting targets that move, and the order is quite helpful since you can hit Spidershot Ultimate. You can move on to this scenario. By the end of all the scenarios, you should have woken up with the brain with decision-making, tracking, target switching, everything. And the motion shot here, obviously the targets are going to vary in size, so it's going to make it a lot more difficult. It's not just a standard let me hit, let me hit, let me hit. You're going to start adjusting to various targets that are different sizes, and you're going to be engaging your hand-eye coordination a lot more. So finally, Spidershot Precision. A great scenario to help you wrap it all up. Again, at the end with some precision and accuracy. I know lots of scenarios build towards the end resemble each other, but we find the theme that Ames Labs... I know a lot of scenarios so far you kind of notice resemble each other, which is the theme of Aim Labs and working to build. Because you have to build at speed, but one thing you have to ensure is that you find the middle ground within accuracy. So let me put this all in perspective, and this is really going to help kind of wrap things up with Aim Labs. If your aim was a graph, it would look something like this. You need to find the sweet spot between your aim, or your accuracy, and your speed. So if you're too fast, you're obviously going to lose accuracy and you won't find your sweet spot. If you're too slow, you may gain some accuracy, but you're going to end up missing those kills in a gunfight, right? So notate that as you improve and as you get better, your sweet spot is going to move up or down depending where you most feel comfortable. Maybe your sweet spot's going to be a lot lower, so you have to actually slow down because otherwise your accuracy goes out the window, or vice versa. You know, the plus side of everything that we talked about, and for those that have watched my Kovacs scenarios and videos, is that you can literally just download this on Steam and it's free, so that's a huge benefit. So if you watch my Kovacs videos and you're looking for something that will get your feet wet and kind of delve you into the world of aim training, this is great start, honestly, because all the principles remain the same. You can branch out from here and work on various exercises, and sure, there are things that Kovacs can refine on, and there are things that Aim Labs clearly has over Kovacs, and there's tons and tons of more to break down, but this is a really, really strong basis to get you to where you need to be to improve your aim. So if you do all these scenarios, you find your weakest one, continue to improve from there. And if you find one of these and say, you know what, I'm going to do this other variant, it still stems from everything that we talked about. But rest assured, very strong playlist. And again, shout out to SoaR Ethos, considering that he's got such a fantastic playlist that so many like and have utilized, because he's been popping off on YouTube, and he plays a lot of Valorant, and he's got fantastic aim. A lot of the SoaR guys definitely put in the work, so it's exciting. So again, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you'd like to see. I can definitely do more of this, can do less of it, depending on how your guys' feedback. But thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.